Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Today we are going to debunk a recent debunk put forth by the very popular Corridor crew in relation to the Compton alien video, which we've been talking about quite a few times on this show since last June, since it happened. Of course, that's the incident that happened on June 5th, just after 1 a.m., and in Compton, California. There was a woman named Jessica Ortiz. One of her ring cameras went off and on the side of her house and captured what looks like an alien creature walking by her house. And she was alerted to this immediately, and she has no explanation for it. Actually, nobody really has an explanation for it. To me, I think there's a strong possibility that it is some sort of a non-human intelligent being. I've seen no evidence to this point that shows it's something else. To me, the evidence seems to point in the direction that this is extraterrestrial / non-human intelligence. However, the Corridor crew, they did a recent debunk on this, and they failed. And I'm going to break their hearts today, unfortunately for them, and I'm going to not only break their hearts into a million pieces, but then I'm going to chew it up and then spit it back out again, because their debunk was junk. Right? It's junk. It should be an insult to all their subscribers. You know, this is the reason why I'm doing this, because this channel, which is a good channel, congratulations, you got almost 7 million subscribers, very well produced videos. It's entertaining, right? I've watched some of your stuff over the years. However, my intelligence was insulted when I watched this recent debunk of the Compton alien, because you didn't debunk anything. You gaslighted people. And that's what it basically boils down to. It needs to be pointed out. It just needs to be pointed out. I guess, I think the truthful thing would have been to say, hey, this is a possibility. Like, they presented some a possible reason to explain, a prosaic explanation. They present this prosaic explanation, right? However, they then at the end of this, they all concluded that this absolutely, no question about it, 100% debunks this whole thing, right? That's a lie. That's a lie. That should be an insult to all your followers, right? All your subscribers, right? It really should be. You must think they're really stupid. That's what you think. You think that they're all stupid. That's what you have in your head. There's no other explanation for that. Also, right, it was disrespectful to the witness in this case, and that's Jessica Ortiz. They didn't even bother to reach out to her. So I don't even know what to say. But anyway, before we'll get into this a little bit more later on. I put a little presentation together that shows what they did and why they're not correct and why their debunk means absolutely nothing. Check this out. Okay, here we go. This is the original video that we're going to watch. This was captured on the ring camera owned by Jessica Ortiz of Compton, California on June 5th of this year, just after 1 a.m. And we're going to play this little video. We've seen it a number of times before, but we are here to debunk the debunk of the Corridor crew. That's what we're here to talk about, and we're going to show you why they are wrong and why I believe they're gaslighting you. Here we go. Okay. You're about to hear a noise. That was Jessica Ortiz's back gate. Apparently it opened and shut, and this was all captured on this ring camera with sound. We saw what looked like an alien creature walking past the side of her house. For some reason, the ring camera in the front of the house, as well as the ring camera in the rear of the house, did not activate for some strange reason. Now, I'm going to show you now. This is an image taken from the Corridor crew's recent video. Now, this is the frame, according to one of these fellas, these young guys here that do this show. Very successful show, very successful YouTube channel, I must say. But this is the one where they say right here, this reveals all. This is the one that gave it away, that shows that there was a guy carrying a bag or a jug here. This right here, according to the Corridor crew, is a head of someone. And then in the very next frame, they enhance their video, and what they say, this is a person walking, holding on to something. Okay, that's what they're saying, that this shape here is something, a person carrying something, a bag or a jug. And in the next frame, They enhanced it even further. This was actually added on. It had to be. This is colored in to show you the shape of a person walking. Now, they don't get into the frame after that, however, and that's where it all falls apart for them. Now, let's look at these frames again, one by one. This is their first frame. This is the one they say gives it away, okay? And here's a frame that I put together from a copy that I have. I have numerous different copies here that we're going to look at. They basically all tell the same story, and the story is the Corridor crew failed to reveal everything about this. They didn't look into this far. Obviously, they did not do a deep dive into this. They don't really care. I guess they have no respect for their audience. That's the only thing I could think of. But this is the first frame from my that I've extracted from one of the videos, and here's their frame right here. Okay, now this is what they're saying. This is what gives it all away. Now here's their second frame. This is an enhanced frame according to them, and what they're saying here is that what you see here, this is a leg, apparently the right leg moving forward of this character, this supposed human being that's carrying this bag or jug, and this is supposed to be an arm, and you can't see the head too much because it's blocked behind this sign here. And then here they colored it in. Now let's look at that same frame. Okay, here's the frame that they're saying is this is the frame after the one that gives it all away, and that's from their version. And here's from my version, the same frame. And you'll notice here, you'll see the hubcap, the chrome hubcap here. You'll see it right there. Now apparently, according to them, a leg is here, and there's a shape of something here. I don't see it, but that's what they're saying. But then they don't show you the frame after that. Okay. Here's the frame after that. Now you can still see the hubcap. You can still see the edge of the hubcap here. You still see the chrome. Now let's go back to their image with the that they have colored in here that shows suppose an alleged person. Now if this was a person, if this was a leg right here, right, and this was marching forward, then that means in the very next frame, when you see that leg right here, how come I'm still seeing chrome right here? That leg would be moving upward a little bit. The figure here moved a little bit ahead. Let's go back. Let's look. Yeah, you see it moved. Now it's back, right? It's back a little bit. Now in this next frame, which Corridor crew did not show anybody, you'll see that the figure has moved up a little bit, but that alleged leg that was supposed to be here should have been, you would have seen it here, right? But it's not there. It's not there. You know why? Because there was nobody there. I do not believe there was anyone there. I'm not saying it's impossible, but the Corridor crew, there were the quotes at the end of this show that they did, at the end of this segment. One of them said, "This is debunked for sure," and another one said, "This is absolutely debunked." And the other one said, "I think something to the effect of that he thinks that we could safely say it's debunked." Okay, so they all say that this is done, right? There's no point in looking at this anymore, okay? But let's continue here. Okay, this is the frame after that, okay? And here's the frame after that, okay? You could still, okay, no, excuse me, that's not the frame after that. This is the frame after that, okay? And then I made some brightened versions of the same ones that I did. Okay, in this frame here, this is the one that they say. This frame here is the one that gives it all away, right? Because they're saying that this right here is the remnants of a human head, right? And then the very next frame, they say this there's someone here, and do you see someone there? I don't see anyone there. Their enhancement, here's their enhancement, okay? That's their enhancement of that same frame. They're saying that that's a person walking there, and this proves it now. Here's a frame from my version, all right? And then here's the next frame after that. This is the one that gives them away right here, because if they were correct, then that leg would have been blocking this. You wouldn't see this. That leg in the previous frame that they're talking about, this one, or here's their enhanced version. There's the leg. That leg would have been bent forward in the next frame, right? And it would have been blocking this hubcap if indeed this was a person. Now let's look at that frame. Okay, here's the let's see here. This is the frame after that, and here's the frame after that. I see the hubcap. I don't see any leg in front of it. And then after that, it gets all distorted. But what you could see here, it looks like it's the shadow of this thing is on the hubcap here. Now you can see the shadow of this thing is, you could see it on the hubcap. Corridor crew, obviously they don't have respect for the people who their audience. Obviously they do not. They have almost 7 million subscribers, but obviously they put no care into this presentation that they did. And, it's all a show. I give them credit. I mean, it's, they put a nice show together. It's very well produced, but they're all acting. They're reading from a script. I mean, you have, okay, here's this guy's acting like Fred from Scooby-Doo, right? Like he knows all the answers, right? He's the smart one, apparently, from what I saw from this. This guy's like the Shaggy guy. He doesn't know what the hell's going on. He has to be told everything. And then this guy here, I don't know what to say. Maybe he's pretending he's tripping on DMT or something. I don't know. I don't know what his character is supposed to be. Yeah, he's the one who said this is absolutely debunked when it was after he was shown all of this. But it was all acting, of course. These are all these young guys are all just acting, and what are you gonna do? But let's look at some more. We'll look at some more evidence here. I'm using various versions of this video from different places. This is actually the one that was uploaded by the Hidden Underbelly. He's the person who I actually, he was the one who, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have known about this video. He was the one who first made this news, and I saw that video, and then I talked about it on my show. Of course, I also had Jessica Ortiz appear on the show to talk about the whole experience that night. And I also had Scott Roeder on the show. He did a deep dive in it. He did an analysis of it. He also created an animated version of that incident to show what it would have been like without the distortion. And there's a lot of distortion in this video, and I'm going to talk about some of that here. Now we're going to play it here. There it goes. Oh, yeah. See, here, just for one other thing here, I want to point something out. See that a lot of people were saying that this was CGI. Of course, that's impossible. I've been telling people that could not be the case, because we actually have the original raw footage as well as the metadata. Scott Roeder got a hold of all of that. And additionally, Jessica Ortiz had uploaded this to her Instagram account just within an hour after the incident happened. And one other little tidbit of information I'd like to share here is this little image. This should put everyone to... it wasn't CGI, folks. Here's the basket. It was a plastic basket. You can see there's candles in it, right? And when you look at this video, there's a candle in the basket. It was a plastic basket, just like Jessica Ortiz says. So the idea that it was CGI, that's impossible. Like I've been stating, it looks like the creature becomes distorted when it walked by the basket. That's because it was a plastic basket. But I want to also point out here too, if you notice, after the creature gets out of the way here, everything clears up really quickly. It was almost like there was a distortion going on while it was in the frame. And the second it gets out of the frame, the distortion goes away. Okay. Now you notice this distortion all around this area. It's almost like a cloud. It's like something blocking out what we're seeing here after right when the ring camera activates. And there's only one little point right here. There's like a hole in the distortion. You can still see it. Everything's distorted here, right, all around it. And I also want to point out, I was also talking to Jamie O'Neill. He was on my show recently. He's an experiencer, and he's also a CGI artist. He's a video game programmer, just like Mick West used to do. And he pointed out he couldn't make heads or tails of, like, I asked him about what these what the Corridor crew was saying, and he couldn't make heads or tails out of, he couldn't see, he couldn't confirm that there was a person there walking with a bag or a jug like those guys were saying. But he did point out that you can't see the legs of the creature. And I went through this video, and that's somewhat true. Right toward the end, right here, you could see toward the bottom of it, right there. There's like a little hole in the distortion where this might be the leg behind there. So I don't know. But regardless, the whole image in the area where this creature was walking, this around the truck, right? It was distorted, but there is absolutely no evidence that I could find in this video that shows a person legs walking like the Corridor crew are stating. That's not the case. It's just not the case. And here it is. We're going to play this in slow motion to try to see if there's any evidence whatsoever of legs walking, of anybody carrying anything. And let me point something else out. Okay, this is like one of the clearest times we get to see this creature right here, right? I see no fingers around anything, right? And here's one other thing we need to point out here too. Let's look at this image that they have, that they're saying this is somebody carrying a bag. Okay, how are they carrying it? Carrying a bag or a jug? I mean, it looks like they're, if this is what they're saying is a person, and then, well, you see the elbow bends here, right, and then it just stops. Like, does this person have no forearms? Does it just have a hand that's connected to an elbow, and that's what's grabbing onto this thing? Like, what are they saying? They didn't think this thing through, folks. They just slapped this little show together. Like, again, let's go through this again. I think it's very important. Okay, here's the image they say gives it all away because of this white thing right here. They say that this is a head. Okay, here's the next image, the next frame right after that, and they're saying that they enhanced this, and this is showing a person carrying something. There's no evidence of a person carrying anything here, folks, because and here's their other image, where they color it in further. But because if you look at the frame right after that, where's the leg? You could see this. You could see the hubcap, but that leg should be bending up and blocking that edge of that hubcap, but I don't see it. And then in the frame after that, it looks like the creature's moved a little bit further ahead, but and there's a shadow shining down on the hubcap, but I don't see any evidence of feet on the ground here. None of it. It's not there. That's because they're reaching at straws. Again, I just want to point out too that Scott Roeder, I think he assigned this about an 80% chance of being extraterrestrial, 80 to 90% chances. It's not guaranteed. This is something you couldn't prove in a court of law. Well, I know that I'm going to give it an 80 to 90% chance of it being actual NHI because we know that it's real. We actually have the evidence. I'm sure that the corridor crew knows nothing about that. And if they try to debunk it, they're going to make fools out of themselves, as anyone who's been paying attention to my show for the past year and a half knows. They're not going to be able to slap some debunk together in 5 minutes like they did with this, right? And think they're going to walk away thinking they've proved anything. They're not. They have proved nothing here. There's absolutely no evidence of a person walking in this video. I went through this with a fine-tooth comb the first time around when I first saw it, and because there were people, just to be clear here, there were other people saying this as well. Right, other people were saying this. There were people that were comments saying that they think there's somebody there. Right, they think that there's somebody walking there, and you could see his head. And then when somebody pointed out to me, I looked at it, and I'm like, "There's nothing there." Okay, let's go through the frames again. This is where the corridor. They didn't show. This is the very first frame, right? And it's just like right when the camera activates, and it's somewhat distorted. But then the next frame is still distorted for some reason, right? But you could see this hubcap of the vehicle that's parked there. And then the next frame after that, this is the frame where they say there's a leg here and somebody's holding something. And it's just it's blocked out because of this basket hanging here and whatever. But then the problem is with their hypothesis, actually they say they debunked it. It's over. That's what they're saying. How could it be? It's not over. Because in the next frame, you could still see the hubcap. There's no leg here. That leg would be lifting up because this thing is still moved forward. You could see, right? There's the frame before, the frame after. If somebody truly was walking, right, like they say, right, and the leg was in this position, right, at that frame, then in the next frame, right, after that, you would see this hubcap would be blocked, right, because this leg would be lifted up to here. But as you see, that's not the case. You could still see it. So their debunk is debunked. Oh, well, there you go. That's just the beginning here. I'm not done with these guys, right? There's more to unravel here with this whole story that they put out there. This whole insult to your intelligence, right? Basically, for one thing, they didn't even contact Jessica Ortiz. They just, they didn't consider any of the other evidence associated with this case, right? Apparently, they just, ran with what they had there and just moved on. That's pretty lazy, if you ask me. Especially when there's people involved here. This woman had an experience. She's been talking about it, but these guys, you know what? Well, we think this in this one frame proves that there was a guy carrying a bag or a jug or something. That's basically all it was. It's junk, and they're telling me this to all of those people that are subscribed to them. It's incredible. Obviously, like I said, to me, it's like it's disrespectful to your subscribers to just put out junk like that, because that's junk. That's junk, right? But there was more to the story, and they didn't cover anything. They didn't do any of this. In fact, let's see what the corridor crew has stated about all the other evidence associated with this case. Let's check this out. Yeah, crickets, nothing. They didn't even talk about any of the other things, right? They didn't address any of this stuff, right? Including the fact that Jessica Ortiz's aunt, who lives right next door to her, 15 minutes before this incident happened, she heard loud thumps on her roof and scratching sounds. She didn't no explanation for it. It scared her so much she ran into her room and started praying. Right? And this. I actually interviewed Jessica Ortiz earlier this year about this. These guys didn't do that, right? But this is when I interviewed her. This is what she said about the experience that her aunt had. Check this out.
I was asking the neighbors, and I went next door with my aunt, and she tells me that about 12:45, she heard two loud bangs on the roof of her house, and she like looked and she kind of jumped and just kind of stopped and listened. And she said that after the second bang, that there was like some scratching noises, like dragging noises that were coming from the roof. She said, I
Wow.
didn't go check because I knew that if I went to the back, I wasn't going to see anything in the backyard. It wasn't from like underneath the house. She's like, I know it was from the roof. And she's like, and she heard one more loud bang. And when she heard that third one, she said she ran to her room and she was so scared. She just started praying. She was so afraid.
And Jessica Ortiz also explained how the cameras didn't activate, the one in the front of the house and the one in the back, but the one in the middle of the house somehow activated. There's no explanation for that. She had no explanation for that. Check this out.
Yeah, I didn't find that out until the next day when I started asking like the neighbors if they had anything in their cameras, or anything that had gotten caught, that we didn't catch, because that camera that we have is actually in the middle. So we have one in the driveway, facing the front. So if anybody passes by, it would have caught somebody there. So if it would have gone to the backyard, it would have caught them there too. So if only the middle camera caught it was another, weird thing about it. But so we have three altogether. So it's one. You can see it in the video. One of them, it's over the front door. That one's facing the driveway. So if anything would have passed the front, like I said, it would have caught it. If anything would have gone, past the back gate to the back, it would have caught it right away. But neither one of them were triggered. That's one of the reasons why it made it even more, confusing as to it can't be a person, because it would have caught it for sure. It would have caught it. There's no way you can go through one camera and not get picked up by the second one or the third one.
And then I also talked to Jessica Ortiz during that interview about what her neighbors said about this. And also, but she had neighbors that live in the back. She actually contacted them 9 minutes after this incident happened, right? Or excuse me, 6 minutes. It happened at 1:03 a.m. She contacted the neighbor in the back, who's one of them sometimes uses the back gate to go home at night, but it wasn't them, right? So she talks about that. She addresses this, right? Did the corridor crew even know about this? I don't even think they knew about it. Check this out.
Well, we do have a back house, and the neighbor in the back, they work late. Sometimes they have, different hours. So the gate opening and closing at night, it's not something uncommon. That is something we're used to. So I didn't pay too much attention to it. But when I saw the video, I ended up seeing the video about 4 minutes after it actually happened. So it was right away. And I'm very close with one of the girls that lives next that back house. So what I did was I called her. It was 1:09 when I called her. So it was right away after my son checked the video, after I seen it. I called her right away and I asked her, did anybody go in and out of the house right now? Like anyone go in and out of the yard? Anyone open the gate? And she says no. And I can you please double check? Like, go ask your parents just to make sure, because I caught something on the camera and it looks really weird, and I want to make sure it wasn't somebody, just that there's no one else that would have access to the house. So she went downstairs, asked her parents, and both of them were no, that they hadn't gone in. Her dad had come in maybe about 20 minutes. It was already laying down, so it couldn't have been him.
And then one final point here, Jessica Ortiz actually addressed the assertions made by some people that it was a person walking back there wearing all black, right? That there's a little spot appears there, like the corridor crew points out, right? And they were saying that that's a person's head, and that was their explanation for it. But she addresses this too, and she also points out that also, as I already pointed out in the little presentation before that there's no way it was a person, right? There's just no way. There's no evidence there, right? Anyway, at least. I mean, I'm not saying it's totally impossible, right? But nothing in that video shows a person. There's no evidence in there that shows a person. More, it shows what looks like an alien creature. That's what it shows, okay? But as Jessica Ortiz points out here, she actually said that there's a space between that plastic candle holder, right, and also the planter, right, where there's nothing that shows up in there when the alien creature walks by. Check this out.
I know in the video also I've seen where people have commented that there's a person that is visible right before the planter, like right in the beginning of the video. They said that there's a face that's visible right when it starts to pass by the where you can see it, but at the very top you can see a head
Right here. This is the beginning of the video. I don't see anything. I looked at this video and I don't see it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it the way that they. I see like a little spot, but at the same time, I mean that could be anything.
Yeah.
I don't see that it goes with the. If it, I think if it would have been a person at the very, very, very end, right over the candle holder at the bottom, if that was a person, that part would have also been blocked by the person wearing black or whatever it is that they're saying. It would have shown up in that part because there is a little gap between the wall and the plant. So I mean, and that doesn't show like anyone moves or anything passes by there. So to me, that explanation doesn't make any sense. But I see what people are saying. I will give them that. If I didn't know the layout of my house and that there's no one that has access, I would probably believe it. But I know that that's not what it is.
So there you have it. I mean, they dropped a ball. I mean, I don't know. I find it disheartening, right? Then this is like the same kind of deal that recently I was talking about the show The Proof Is Out There, where they did that totally bogus report on the Las Vegas alien incident of 2023. As everyone who's been following this podcast realizes by this point, there's no that actually involved that proves that we're not alone. There's no question about it. There's non-human intelligence here on Earth, right? And the Las Vegas alien incident proves it. But the proof is out there. Showed they don't care, right? They just gaslighted everybody when they did that. This is the same thing situation here. This is the same thing going on here with the Corridor crew. Obviously, I just find it surprising that you would think. I guess my problem here is you would think when you have that big of a subscriber base and you're reaching out to many people trust you, right? And you're going to put out junk like that, half-assed researched and half-assed conclusions with really nothing there to support it whatsoever. I mean, there's no evidence there of somebody walking back there. And I ran this by Scott Roeder, the crime scene reconstruction expert. He's also had his own interview with Jessica Ortiz about this, and he put that wonderful CGI animation version of it, the computer animated version of it, to try to give us a better idea what this thing would have looked like without all of the distortion that we see there. He did that, and he just found this laughable. I mean, he doesn't even want to talk about it. He thinks it's a waste of time. I think it's important to point out because, I mean, these guys, they have, like I said, almost 7 million subscribers, and there's a lot of people who obviously trust them, and yet they're putting out trash like this and saying it's absolutely no question about it, that it proves it, that it's debunked, that this proves all of it. From one frame, you're going to take that out of one frame, right? And then actually put in your own little drawing of a person standing there, like create your own little shadow and say, oh, there it is. That's it. It explains it. And as you saw with what I just showed you, there's no way it could have been that. You don't see anything. There's no evidence to that effect whatsoever. No, I'm not saying that it's impossible, but see, that's the thing. That's the difference between debunkers and people who are trying to seek truth, right? Like I'm not going to sit here and tell you that 100% guaranteed that Compton alien was a real NHI. I think that's most likely the case, right? Is it possible that it could be somebody wearing a costume? Maybe. I don't see how, but you never know. Maybe, there's, because of the distortion, maybe there what it was and you just can't tell. But I don't think so. I don't think so. I think there's a greater chance that it was NHI. And we know that it's real now, based on, we have evidence now that shows that there's something here. No question about it. And is there a small possibility, perhaps, that it could have been somebody carrying something? I don't think so, right? But maybe a 1% chance, perhaps. But no, it's not. What did these guys say? The quotes here from these guys. This is debunked for sure, and this is absolutely debunked. Okay? Come on. That's ridiculous. It's not absolutely debunked. No, you didn't debunk any. It's not solved. You guys ain't that smart, obviously, right? You're a bunch of kids. You're making lots of money with all your subscribers. You're fooling these people. You're fooling your subscribers, which is a shame. I feel bad for them. Basically, I was talking about this last week, right? Basically, creating a whole bunch of dumb zombies. Like what you see on the screen right now, you see this a zombie getting up off the floor, right? And there's a little scene from Night of the Living Dead. There's a zombie. This is what the people like the Corridor Crew are turning their subscribers into dumb zombies. And this is what if you believe the Corridor Crew, this is what you have become. What you see on the screen right now. I feel very sorry for you. I just want to say this. Thank you all for joining me today. Until next time.